Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be reporting on a massive Reddit leak. I know for the most part, guys, that these things turn out to be fake, but this one definitely has some reliability, mostly because of the person's credentials. This post is from Afpak, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. He's the creator of Light.gg. If you didn't know already, Light.gg is a website that's dedicated to Destiny, and I've actually been on here before looking for like weapon stats and stuff like that, so I know about this website, and what he did is essentially data mine a lot of this stuff and look through the API files to find this, so you can definitely be, assured that this stuff is pretty legit. He talks about progress towards collections, triumphs, seals, badges, and so on and so forth, and then later on he talks about a lot of exclusive exotics and how we're going to get them and from which specific activities. Moving along, he talks about some of the Gambit new loot and of course some of the raid weapons and armor pieces, which is absolutely nuts, and talks about some of the possible items that we'll have to be collecting on different destinations to unlock secret exotics like the ones found in the Taken King expansion, which were acquired via collecting 50 calcified fragments. But before we get into the actual meat of this post, guys, and before I show you all this stuff, I do want to give you a spoiler alert warning, but that's not all. Before we talk about all that stuff, and before I give you this spoiler warning, we're also going to cover one more spoiler that dropped separately from this one, which, believe it or not, is the Forsaken expansion final cutscene. I know, sounds pretty ridiculous. How can something like that get leaked? But yeah, it is leaked. Believe it or not, there's a video online that's floating about, and for the most part you're not going to find it on YouTube because Activision is most likely taking down those channels and striking them and hitting them with the ban hammer. That is why I'm not going to be showing the actual trailer in my video specifically, but I will talk about it and talk about the ramifications of what we're seeing on screen. But again, guys, that's going to come later in the video. I just wanted to kind of skim over everything very quickly to tell you what's coming up in this video, and this is the point where I'm going to tell you, spoiler alert warning. If you don't want to know about this stuff, Forsaken launches in basically 24 hours. If you don't want to know about any of this stuff, you can feel free to click off now, but if you're still here and you're ready to go, let's get right into it. If you guys end up enjoying the content, drop a like and subscribe. Destiny 2 Forsaken is right around the corner, and I for one cannot wait. Alright, guys, with that spoiler warning out of the way, let's just jump right into it. This is from Afpak, the creator of Light.gg. This is the Destiny Reddit post. I'm going to have it in the description if you guys want to go ahead and follow along with me. But essentially, what he said here, and let's just skip right to it. He says, anyways, with the intro out of the way, there's a ton of information provided in the API files that can be hard to digest if you don't know what you're looking for. The info in the legend is particularly useful because there are some instances where an item is classified in the item database, but it is not in the collectibles database. This lets us make some conclusions that we would not otherwise be able to make just yet. Here's some of the stuff that I found most interesting, and this is the entire list of stuff that he basically dug up, and this is some serious content. I mean, he's spoiling quite a bit here, so let's go through this one by one. So a lot of the triumph point values, the new version of Grimoire score, are in place so we can get an idea of what types of things we'll have to do if grinding score is something you're interested in. I remember doing this in the dark below. I was trying to get my Grimoire score up once I was done all the content, and this was one of my favorite things to do in Destiny. I'm just a chaser of milestones and collections and kind of my prestige, if you will, and so this is something that very much entices me. 1000 Voices appears to be a raid weapon for Last Wish. Last Wish is the brand you raid, of course, in the Dreaming City, and 1000 Voices is a fusion rifle in the power slot. I'm going to show you guys that in just a second, but really quick, not Wish Ender as many had previously guessed. Wish Ender is the bow, and a lot of people thought that was going to be the raid exotic, but it turns out it is the fusion rifle. This legend entry shows the 1k voices being directly associated with the raid, where no other exotic can say the same. Before we get to these links here, guys, I'm just going to read the final raid stuff. There will be a raid ship, Ermine, TAC 717, Sparrow, Cleansing Knife, and Ghost Shell, the Wishmaker Shell. there is going to be 6 raid weapons visibly here, of which the only ones I'm confident in calling are a bow and a hand cannon. Now this is very interesting because it looks like all 6 of the raid weapons are actually visible, and it's pretty clear to me that all of them are raid weapons. So we're going to take a look at these right now, guys. So 1000 voices, here is what the weapon looks like. Of course, we've seen trailers and gameplay of this, and it is a power fusion rifle. I can be anyone you wish, oh murderer mine. We got Ahamkara's eye. Charging this weapon unleashes a giant continuous beam of death. That sounds so awesome. Unforeseen repercussions. This weapon's beam superheats its targets upon impact, causing delayed explosions. And here are all the stats for all that good stuff. So this is going to be the raid exotic, guys. It's right here. This may not be the one that, you know, requires us to collect 50 of those items scattered throughout the Dreaming City and the new destinations, but this is going to be the one that is probably similar to the Legend of Acreus. You know what I mean? Like, we had to do, you know, some strikes to get that weapon. We had to do some raids once we completed the normal version of the raid, and then maybe we're going to have to do a prestige for it or something along those lines. Next in the legend, we have the weapon shown right here, and as you guys can see, it says Raid Last Wish Warlock, and the weapon is there, so that ties it directly to the raid, meaning this is the raid exotic. We previously had no idea which one it was going to be, but it looks like it's now confirmed. Here are the weapons, guys. Here are the raid weapons. We got the Transfiguration. This is a scout rifle because it's pointing to the left hand side and it just kind of clearly looks like a scout. We have the pulse rifle called the Chattering Bones, sorry. We then have the age-old Bond. This to me looks like a LMG, but I don't know if the LMG is going to be available at launch or if it's going to be available later down the road, but yeah, this looks like an LMG to me, or it might be a grenade launcher, to be honest. We then have the Apex Predator. This looks like a no, that's a rocket launcher if I had to guess. And then we have Nation of Beasts. This is a hand cannon. So as you guys can see, all of the weapons are themed the same way. This is very similar to all the activities that Bungie comes out with. You know, they're all the same color, and they're all the same colors basically. It's purple, white, a little bit of black, and then we have this, I guess, pink or copper looking stripe at the front of the weapons or on the scope itself. We then have the ship, Ghost, and Sparrow that all follow the same design in terms of the colors. We have the Wishmaker shell. We got the Ermine TAC 717. Looks like a beautiful ship, by the way, in terms of the colors. This Ghost is nice too because it's dark and looks pretty ominous. And we have the Cleansing Knife Sparrow as well. Actually, nah, that can't be it. These are all probably placeholders, guys, so don't even worry about the armor right here. But these are the weapons. So we have the Scout, Pulse, what looks like an LMG, the rocket launcher, and the hand cannon. I'm not sure why the actual guy who posted on Reddit said that he's not sure about all of this, and he's only sure about the hand cannon and also the, where was it? I'm only confident in the bow and the hand cannon. Now, I'm not sure why, because all of them were the same color themed, and so it kind of shows that they're all going to be raid weapons. But anyways, we can move on from there. The Wish Ender appears to be associated with the Dreaming City. There's a lot of collectibles in the Dreaming City, more about that in a second, so it's possible that we obtain it by collecting a certain number of those, aka Word Lime 0 or something along those lines or of that nature. So Wish Ender, of course, is the exotic bow that we've seen lots of gameplay of. This thing is absolutely sick. Don't fret, it's a simple expedition. We'll be back before lunch. First Queen's Wrath. So this thing is very, very awesome, and what he's suggesting here is that we're probably going to get this from the Dreaming City, that because it's associated with that, and there's a lot of collectibles in the Dreaming City, so who knows which ones we have to collect for this specific exotic, and we're going to touch on that right here. Several lore books give us some insight into what awaits us as far as the Sleeper Node Calcified Fragment Collection game goes. So Ghost Stories reveals that dead ghosts will be all over the system, not just in the reef. That is awesome. I loved collecting dead ghosts, so it's awesome that they're going to be back. We have Mara Senna shows that we will be destroying corrupted eggs and collecting Ahamkara bones across the reef. Maybe cobbing these bones together is one of the steps to getting the Wish Ender. So this is a possibility right here. That's a lead. We also have the Awoken of the Reef, talks about collecting crystallized thoughts from all over the system. That's another thing that could be very similar to the calcified fragments. We also then have the Dreaming City, speaks of looting chests in Ascendant challenges in order to complete its components, perhaps part of the Blind Well EP or Court of Oryx event or something else entirely. So I did remember seeing something about crafting in Forsaken, so this looks like, you know, this is going to be the crafting component. We might have to make some of our weapons in the Blind Well or make some of the armor pieces or upgrade them that way, which sounds very freaking awesome. A Drifter's Gambit shows that the Drifter is a pretty spooky dude. That's a pretty irrelevant point. Truth to Power speaks of accepting gifts in the Queen's Court to complete its components. Again, perhaps part of the Blind Well or perhaps something else entirely. Aldrin Soft talks about hunting down Aldrin's scattered surveillance drones. This is another thing that could be the calcified fragments. We're just gonna have to wait and see, but it's very interesting that there's a lot of collectibles on these new destinations. Varix the Loyal is mostly incomplete and empty, but does give some information and confirmation that our favorite Prison of Elders commentator has some part to play still in the game. Wall of Wishes again is mostly incomplete, but very likely has something to do with the Ahamkara Riven, as they are known for being wish dragons. Riven, for those of you who don't know, is the last of the Ahamkara, or the last known one, and we're most likely going to track him into the Dreaming City, and he's going to be a raid boss. Seals are basically the meta achievements that sometimes grant titles upon completion. The data in the API files presently seems like a very early version, but keep an eye out on this page after Tuesday to get a better look. Nightfall Triumphs also changed. The Nightfall scoring is going to be tweaked. I'm not sure why, but you know, as long as it makes, you know, Nightfall scoring a little bit better, I do not mind. And then finally, here are some final things that he edited. Gambit will also have a Ship Sparrow and Ghost Sea here, as well as its own armor set. We have the Malfeasance is obtained via a quest with the Drifter. I think this has been reported before, but I wanted to lend another voice of yeah, looks like it into the crowd. Both the Gambit gear legendary entry and Drifter vendor page shows that it comes from him via a quest called Darkness in Light. So wow, there you go guys, we know that Darkness in Light is going to be the quest for the Malfeasance, and that it is an exotic quest with the Drifter in Gambit. Each of the raid gear class pages have 5 collectibles that do not have corresponding items in the item database yet. My take is that these are likely prestige armor, but interpret as you will. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of that Gambit gear right here. As you guys can see, Playing for Keeps, which is I guess another code name for Gambit, and we have the Malfeasance linked to it right here. We have the Hardline, this is an auto rifle from Gambit. We have the Bygones, which is a pulse. Trust hand cannon, which is the mini last word. It has 180 RPM and is automatic. We have the Pillager submachine gun, distant relation scout rifle, Bad Omens rocket launcher, and we have some loot here, or some armor for the Hunter. Personally, that cloak looked absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. We have the Furtive Shell, the Great Beyond, and the Sparrow finally. And of course some shaders right here, but we don't have a picture of that, unfortunately. So yeah guys, here are all the weapons. As you guys can see, it follows kind of a rustic old school theme with the wood on it and metal. I very much like that, especially for Gambit, and that looks like it's the end for the Reddit leak. Alright, so let's talk about the final piece of material we have, which is the final cutscene for the Forsaken expansion campaign. Again, I cannot show that in this video guys, or I would literally get my head slapped around like a silly fucking goose by Activision. I'm not even kidding. Alright guys, it would not be fun. So what I'm going to do instead is describe it as you guys are watching this gameplay in the background. So essentially what happens is Aldrin appears in a big room, and he has a crystal in his hand. He sees projections of Mara Sov. It's not actually her. He sees projections of her, and she kind of tells him and manipulates him into putting this crystal into something so that she can become resurrected. But what he doesn't know is that it's not actually Mara Sov. He's just being manipulated by an Ahamkara dragon named Riven. So Riven then appears, but obviously he's still in his projection form, and he appears straight ahead of Aldrin, and she slowly floats down towards Aldrin. And what happens is she goes out to extend her hands to him, and as soon as they touch hands, Aldrin closes his eyes because obviously he's feeling really good or whatever that he resurrected Mara Sov. But then it actually cuts to another camera, and it shows us that it's not Mara Sov. It's actually an Ahamkara dragon, like I mentioned, named Riven. And he then proceeds to basically eat Aldrin. He opens his eyes and screams, and he basically gets eaten. So we find out a bunch of things, massive spoilers. Marasov is really dead. She's not alive, it was just a projection the whole time. Looks like Aldrin is also dead, so we won't be able to avenge Cade 6. Obviously Cade 6 is dead, and looks like the boss for the raid will be the Ahamkar dragon named Riven. But that is it, guys. The guy who leaked that trailer is most likely going to get sued and fired from Bungie. I feel bad for him, but not really. And that's it for the video though, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to find that video, you can probably just Google search it and you'll find it very easily. I want to thank you all so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, a like rating would very much help out this video and of course the channel. Subscribe for more daily Destiny 2 Forsaken content. We are right around the corner, and let me know in the comments, what do you think of all these leaks, guys? Are you excited? Are you not? Let me know, and have yourselves a great day. Peace, guys.